Hello and welcome to It's Your Business with Mario Toneguzzi on Megapix Media. Joining me today is Julie Ades, who is Senior Economist with the Conference Board of Canada in the Global Commerce Center. Thanks for joining us today, Julie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let me just start by asking you, released a new research report today on supply chain networks in Canada. First of all, tell me what you think is the key findings from that report.
Yes, our briefing is based on a survey to shed light on the impact of COVID-19 on Canadian organizations' sourcing decisions. So based on the survey, we found that many organizations are already reevaluating their supply chains and their choice of suppliers. In fact, many organizations said they had shifted their supply chains more towards domestic suppliers during the pandemic, and an even greater share said they are planning to source more inputs from local suppliers after the pandemic is over.
Okay, and why is that shift happening? Like, what are the reasons for that?
Well, one major finding from the survey is that COVID-19 caused the most problems when sourcing inputs from China and overseas suppliers. However, many Canadian organizations also had trouble sourcing inputs from the United States and Canada itself. So we found that nearly 3/4 of organizations sourcing Canadian inputs experienced domestic supply chain disruptions due to COVID-19, and 38% said that it had a high or medium impact on their capacity to source inputs within Canada.
Now, in terms of the impact of COVID on supply chain networks, is it a universal problem, or is it centered around any particular industries?
Well, it varies from industry to industry, but the most affected industry, as we may recall, was the healthcare sector. For high-value services like your professional, scientific, and technical services like information technology, the impact was much less substantial.
Okay, then. And how difficult is it for companies to restructure in this day and age? Like, what does that entail?
Well, the survey looked at their planning decisions. So we don't know as of yet to what extent they will put into practice those plans or those intentions that they have right now. The fact that many organizations had trouble sourcing inputs domestically suggests that sourcing more inputs locally is not a panacea to mitigating supply chain shocks. So Canadian organizations should evaluate their choices carefully. Other strategies include diversifying suppliers and avoiding too much dependence on one country or region, even one's own. Also, businesses can adopt digital technologies to help react more quickly to supply chain disruptions in the future. And they can also work on strengthening their relationships with the selected suppliers to build long-term trust.
Okay, super then. And anything else that struck you from the research that was important?
Well, we do think that adjusting or diversifying supply chains to ensure reliable access to key inputs or for national security reasons is valid and recommended. But if business leaders decide to reshore or shorten their supply chains, they should do so by weighing the implications on the supply chain's resiliency, robustness, and efficiency. As we all know, Canada is a trade-dependent economy, and as the global economy slowly reopens from the COVID-19 crisis, our industries will need to remain globally competitive to support the economic recovery.
Okay, great. Thanks for joining us today, Julie.
Thank you again for having me.
Okay, that was Julie Ades, who is Senior Economist with the Conference Board of Canada's Global Commerce Center. This has been It's Your Business with Mario Toneguzzi on Megapix Media. Thanks for joining us today.